Indian unilateral and illegal actions since 5th August 2019 and the recent delimitation exercise, terming them an assault not only on the people of Kashmir but an assault on the United Nations, the Security Council and its resolutions, and the 4th Geneva Convention, all while the internationally recognized disputed status of Jammu and Kashmir was being undermined and the Muslim majority of the Kashmiris being turned into minority in their own land. The Foreign Minister urged the Security Council to shoulder its responsibility and to resolve the Jammu and Kashmir dispute. The Foreign Minister noted that Pakistan had seen the cost of war up close. We had also witnessed how after decades of conflict, ultimately dialogue and diplomacy were the path to a conclusion. He appealed to the Security Council to deploy dialogue and diplomacy in pursuit of peace before and not after the war. He called for breaking the cycle of conflict that would enable the new generation to unlock its true potential and help address the challenges facing the international community. While in New York, the Foreign Minister had other important engagements on the sidelines, including meetings with the UN Secretary General and the President of the General Assembly. These were opportunities to brief them on issues of our interest, especially Kashmir and Afghanistan. Also on the sidelines, the Foreign Minister had bilateral meetings with the Turkish Foreign Minister and the Italian Foreign Minister, covering the entire range of bilateral and other issues with these two friendly countries. In their bilateral meeting, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken reaffirmed the strong determination of Pakistan and the United States to strengthen their broad-based, long-standing bilateral relations. They covered the full spectrum of Pakistan-US relations and discussed global and regional situation. The two sides expressed satisfaction over the ongoing bilateral engagement in the areas of trade and investment, climate, energy, health and education, and underlined the need to further reinforce cooperation through dialogue and decisions at a higher level. You would have noticed the Foreign Minister also had interactions with Congressman Amy Bera, Representative Adam Smith, Senator Lindsey Graham, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson, the chairperson of the US Congressional Pakistan Caucus. Ladies and gentlemen, the government and people of Pakistan received with a deep sense of sadness and grief the news of the passing away of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the UAE. Earlier this week, the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister undertook separate visits to the UAE to offer condolences to the newly elected President of the UAE, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and to the Al Nahyan family and the leadership and people of the UAE. In solidarity with the brotherly people of UAE, the government of Pakistan announced 3 days national mourning from 13th to 15th of May with the national flag flying at half-mast, both in Pakistan and across all our missions abroad. On 16th, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and His Excellency Li Keqiang, Premier of the State Council of People's Republic of China, held a comprehensive telephonic conversation. The Prime Minister offered his condolences to the government and people of China and expressed sympathies with the families of victims of the heinous terrorist attack that took place at the Karachi University on 26th April, in which 3 Chinese scholars lost their lives. The Prime Minister affirmed that Pakistan was committed to providing highest level of safety and security of all Chinese nationals and institutions working in Pakistan. The two premiers also discussed bilateral matters of mutual importance. Prime Minister Sharif affirmed his government's firm resolve to fast-track both the ongoing as well as the new projects under CPEC. primarily assured Prime Minister Sharif of China's readiness to enhance economic cooperation, expand trade and encourage greater investment from China to Pakistan. Yesterday, a delegation led by Mr. Chang Qiuping, China's External Security Commissioner, called on the Prime Minister. On 12th May, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari held a telephone conversation with the OIC Secretary General, Mr. Hussain Brahim Taha, to apprise him of the latest situation in IIOJK in the wake of the report of the Delimitation Commission. Dismissing the report as another outrageous attempt by India at political gerrymandering, the Foreign Minister said that by redrawing electoral boundaries blatantly favoring the Hindu-dominated constituencies, the so-called Delimitation Commission has validated the worst fears of the Kashmiri people that the BJP government in India sought to disempower and disenfranchise them by altering the demographic structure of IIOJK with a view to converting the Muslim majority into a minority. In this regard, Pakistan appreciates the strong condemnation by the Independent Permanent Human Rights Commission of OIC on 12th May and the deep concern raised by the General Secretariat of the OIC in its statement of 16th May on the Indian government's illegal exercise to redraw and delimit the electoral constituencies in IIOJK. The General Secretariat and the IPHRC termed it direct contravention and in violation of numerous OIC and UN Security Council resolutions as well as international human rights and humanitarian laws. Reaffirming the long-standing and principled position of the OIC on Jammu and Kashmir dispute, they also urge the international community, particularly the UN Security Council, to take immediate cognizance of the grave implications of such delimitation exercise. On 12th May, speaking at the second Global COVID-19 Summit, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari underscored that an approach to deal with the pandemic must be grounded firmly in scientific evidence and logic. He emphasized that international cooperation and coordination were of fundamental importance to the success of efforts to tackle the pandemic. On 14th May, a solemn memorial service was held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to honor the lives and services of the victims of terrorist attack in Karachi University on 26th April. The memorial service was attended by the Foreign Minister, the Shajid Affairs of the
डॉलन्स एलिगेंस इन्वर्टर एसी में है गोल्ड फिल्स और इसकी एंटी रस्ट कोटिंग रखे इसको जंग से दूर, क्योंकि डॉलन्स रिलायबल है.
Paid farewell call on the Foreign Minister. The Foreign Minister appreciated her services to promote Pakistan-US ties and wished her well in her future endeavors. On 13th May, the Swiss ambassador called on the Foreign Minister to congratulate him on assumption of office. The Foreign Minister applauded the ambassador for his efforts to deepen mutually beneficial bilateral relations. Minister of State Hina Rabbani Kar received EU Special Envoy for Afghanistan on 13th of May. They shared perspectives and concerns on the latest situation in Afghanistan and emphasized the importance of international coordination to strengthen stability in Afghanistan. MOS Kar also visited the Embassy of Palestine on 17th May for condolences over the killing of Shirin Abu Akleh, the Palestinian journalist. On 17th May, coinciding with the Visak, the exhibition of artifacts, replicas and photographs was organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to showcase Pakistan's Buddhist cultural heritage and Gandhara civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now turn to the situation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. On 18th May, the Indian charge of affairs was called to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and handed over a démarche conveying Pakistan's strong condemnation on the framing of fabricated charges against Hurriyat leader Muhammad Yasin Malik, who is currently imprisoned in the infamous Tihar jail by the Indian authorities. It is highly reprehensible that Mr. Malik has been convicted yesterday in a manifestly dubious and motivated case dating back to 2017. Predictably, the one-sided